Hey everybody, it's that time again for the Chino Hills Market Report for the month of August 2023. So let's take a look at the single family residences. These are detached homes, so no condos that share a common wall, or townhomes or anything like that. So these are the most popular sales in the city. And for the month of August, there were 39 closed sales. And that is actually up 5 sales from July of 34. So 14.7% up from last month. And if we go further back, we go to August of 2022, it was up just 2.6%. So it was 38, so there was one more sale this year. Last year, this time was kind of like, not quite the peak, but interest rates were going up and people weren't sure how to react and we had to pull back. So considering, it's been a year since last August and we're real close, and that's a good indicator of, lack of inventory and increased demand. So back then, we had more inventory and less demand because of the interest rate shock. Now things have kind of not normalized. Actually, they kind of have normalized. So buyers that are starting their shopping experience today, they weren't looking at 3%, 4% interest rates like these buyers were last year. So things have kind of changed, but they've equalized or normalized. Now, in terms of the number, those sales, how many closed above the ask and below? There were 27 sales above the ask, 9 below, and 3 at ask. Now, this is a good indicator of what kind of market we're seeing. Just anecdotally speaking, multiple offers are still very common. The lack of inventory and the relatively stable demand is making this a seller's market. Still, it's not a buyer's market yet. It might not be for quite a while, but as of today, there is not enough inventory for the amount of demand, even with the recent increase in interest rates that we've seen. So if you're thinking about selling, now is a great time. I'll give you an argument why now still might be a decent time to buy at the end of the video, so hang out for that. So new listings, as far as new inventory coming on the market, we had 39 sales, 39 properties that went off the market from a sale in August. Well, we only had 39 new listings come on, so it's kind of flat, it kind of balances itself out. There were some expired, there were some cancellations, but for the most part, inventory is not really grown too much. So that is down 20%, 20.4% from last July, or this July, last month, the previous month. We had 49 new listings come on the market. So there is also that seasonality at play. The further we get into the depths of summer and fall, the less inventory that we're going to get on the market, seasonally speaking. So we'll see if that changes this year, but we can expect less and less new inventory. And that is down a whopping 29.1% from August of last year, which was 55 new listings for the month. So again, the market is always changing. It's never the same from one month to the next. And we'll see if the seasonal trend of declining inventory continues. If that is the case, we're going to see an increase in sale prices going into the end of the year, which is abnormal, would be abnormal for the seasonality. Okay, so let's take a look at the median sales price for the month of August. And the median sales price was $980,000, and that is up slightly from July. In July, it was $965,000, so it's up 1.5%. Now, if we go further back, we go to August of last year, it's up 16.3%, and the median sales price last year was $842,500. So good size increase over last year. Essentially, the dip that we saw last year in home values is pretty much gone, and we're back above where we were. So if we go further back in the city of Chino Hills and we go back to 2020, the median sales price was only $712,500. So that's an increase of 37% in the last 3 years. Annualized, it's just under 12% per year. So good appreciation. We'll see if that trend continues. A lot has changed in the macro environment of economics, but locally there's still a lot of demand and a little bit of inventory. So We'll see what happens going forward. And finally, we're at days on market. This is the median number of days that a property is on the market. Now again, with median, figuring out the median value, that is kind of the middle point. There's an equal number of sales below and an equal number of sales above, and this is where we come with this figure. So last month in July, it was 9 days, so we had a drop of 1 day or 12%. And if we go further back to August of 2022, it's down by 15 days. So again, this time last year, there was a lot of shock going on, people adjusting to the interest rates, and no real clear direction of where things were headed. So that would explain the higher days on market, which is down by 65% over last year. And we're definitely back to a strong seller's market. Let's take a look at the condos. Okay, so let's get into the condos. These are attached homes, so think of a condo where you've got a neighbor on each side, attached walls, you're sharing a wall, or a townhome or something like that where there's some kind of attachment to another residence. So in the city, there were 12 sales in the month of August, and that is up a whopping 300% from the previous month, because there was only 4 sales in July. So big shift there. As far as going back to August of 2022, there was no change. So it was exactly 12 sales last year and 12 sales this year. So in the condo market in the city, there was more inventory relative to the single family homes, and that meant you had fewer of those situations where people had to really outbid the competition to get the property. And so we had 6 sales above ask, 5 sales below, and 1 at ask. So as far as new listings, we had 8 new condos come on the market in the month of August. So that's only a drop of 12.1%. Compared to August of last year, again, that is unchanged. It's kind of strange there. So we only had 8 new listings in the month of August in condos of 2022. So median sales for the month of August over July, there was a pretty decent increase. There was 3 sales that were above $700,000. 2 of them were in the $850,000 range. And so that moved the median price up from the month prior to $592,400. That is an increase of 21.1% from last month, and that was only $489,000. Now going back in time to this time last year, it's almost the same, which is kind of crazy, but only an increase of 0.8%, and the median sales price last year was $587,500. So not a big difference there. Now, going back further in time, getting the DeLorean and go back to 2022 or 2020, we were at $439,500. That is a 34.7% increase in the last 3 years for condos. So when you think of an annualized rate, that's right around 11% or so. So not bad, pretty good appreciation over the years in the city of Chino Hills. So median days on market, this is a good indicator or kind of a snapshot of the balance between supply and demand. When you dig deeper into the numbers, you can kind of see where the shift is coming from, if it's from oversupply or undersupply or more demand or less demand. So in the month of July, the total sales were only 4. So there was an accumulation of inventory, and that kind of helped to increase the days on market from 8 in the month of July, so 10 in the month of August. And if we go back further in time, this is where there's kind of a big divergence from this year to last year in the condo market. Days on market was 30 days in condos. So again, last year, this time, a lot of question marks in where interest rates were going, where the market was going, and that has normalized not only in the single family residence market, but also in the condo and townhome market. So earlier in the video, I mentioned about how there is kind of an argument for why isn't necessarily the worst time to buy. If we look back and we go to spring of 2008, that was kind of the worst time to buy. However, when you look at it through the lens of time, it wasn't the worst. Actually, it wasn't really a bad situation, because by 2012, values had kind of got back to where they were. Sure, it took a few years, but if you needed a place to live, you didn't want to spend money on rent, you wanted to build equity, it only took a few years to get you back to that baseline where you were at. And if we look back to now, 11 years later from 2012, values have almost tripled in a lot of situations. So, it looked like a bad decision at the time, but through the lens of time, it wasn't so bad. So, not making a super hard argument for you, but that's a way to look at it in terms of timing. It's really difficult to time any markets. If it was easy, then everybody'd be a millionaire. But that's just so. If you're buying in the market to buy right now, don't feel too bad. Looking back, it's probably going to be a good thing for you. So if you're thinking of selling, now is a really good time. There's definitely uncertainty in the market. We don't know where interest rates are going to go. There's a strong argument for higher interest rates for longer. That is going to hurt sales. That's going to be less buyer demand. So if you are thinking about selling, now might not be a bad time. And if you're thinking about buying, if you've got a strong reason to buy and you don't foresee yourself needing to move in the next 3 or 4 years, now is as good a time as any. So that is it. I'll talk to you next month. And if you have any questions, reach out to me directly. You can call me at 909-247-0374. Please like and subscribe to my channel. I'm going to be putting more content out there every month, and hope you enjoy.